Can you trust Dave 2D, also known as Dave Lee? Let's talk. Hey there, friends on YouTube. My name is Jason, sometimes known as the JT, and this is Painfully Honest Tech. Tech so honest it hurts. Sunday. If this is your first time here, thanks so much for being here. If you've been here before, then thank you so much for coming back. I really do appreciate it. You guys are just special to me. Just special. So let's get right to the subject at hand today. Can you trust Dave 2D, otherwise known as Dave Lee? First, let's find out a little bit about who this guy is. Dave seemed to have come on the YouTube scene about 3 years ago, as far as I can tell. His videos since the time he started have been focused mainly on laptops, smartphones, and tech accessories. Laptops, really, for the most part. Honestly, for most of his time on YouTube, his videos have been, well, pretty unremarkable. The camera work, the editing, they're all solid, and his thumbnails are almost maddeningly consistent with this little branding bug over here along the right side of his bush. He's got good camera presence, if not a little bit on the mild side. His coverage of his subjects has been thorough. He breaks down laptops into specific details and does a great job of explaining how they work and why, and giving people a good opportunity to make a purchase decision. His knowledge goes deeper than the specs, and he makes that knowledge accessible. All in all, Dave has a good channel. He's grown to nearly 1.5 million subs, but there was nothing particularly spectacular to set him apart from the other YouTubers who cover this same subject matter. It's hard to get a sense of Dave's personality when watching his content. He has a very soft voice that's almost ASMR-like. So if ASMR and tech get you going, there's probably a little something for you on Dave Lee's channel. To tell you the truth, I really had never considered him for this series. There wasn't much to grab a hold of. He didn't have the same presence as folks in his space like Jay's 2 Cents or Lou from Unbox Therapy, although Lou and Dave have made videos together a couple of different times, and they seem to have a nice chemistry there on camera. I watch his channel pretty regularly, but it's never really been, say, must-see viewing for me. So why the hell am I doing a Can You Trust about Dave Lee? A few weeks ago, everything with Dave kind of changed. Dave put out a video called "I'm Starting to Hate Apple." And the description read, "Apple needs to stop being terrible now." He went on to deliver a laundry list of how Apple has dropped the ball, particularly with their computing products over the past couple of years, to the point where Dave was starting to get pissed off. It was hard to tell he was getting pissed off. His ASMR voice barely quivered as he went through his arguments, but he actually said that the computing products were pissing him off. So I had to take him at his word. Dave has religiously covered MacBook Pros. He's a self-identified Mac user from way before his time as a YouTuber. So to hear this coming from him was kind of shocking. He laid out his case well, and boom goes the dynamite. But softly spoken, but boom, nonetheless. But then something strange happened. A couple of days later, as if they had heard Dave's call out in the darkness, Apple announced a whole new lineup of MacBook Pros with super powerful processors and 32 gigs of RAM available, and all this, pretty much all the things that the creative pros have been asking for in MacBooks. Like, suddenly there they were. Is Dave Lee some sort of Apple whisperer? And so, like every other tech YouTuber with a spare $5,000 or so in their bank account, Dave ordered his 15-inch model spec'd out with all that best stuff, including a 6-core i9 processor, arguably the most powerful chip on the market right now. The next thing I expected to really hear from Dave was another well-shot, well-edited video taking the MacBook Pro through its paces. But that's not what happened. The next thing we heard from Dave about the new MacBook Pro was, beware the Core i9 MacBook. In that video, he took us through what he discovered with his machine. It was underperforming due to thermal throttling. It wasn't even as fast as the quad-core i7 model from 2017. He really dug in with benchmarks and even went as far as to put his MacBook Pro in the freezer to run the tests again, and found that it actually did perform better while in the freezer. Don't try this at home, kids. I don't think it's good for your computer. But this isn't the first time Apple has released a product that wasn't wasn't quite up to snuff. It seems to me like that's maybe become more and more their MO over the years. Honestly, I expected them to ignore the problem and maybe even get sort of huffy about anyone even questioning them, because that's what they've done in the past quite often. But that's not what happened. The exact opposite happened. Apple got in touch with Dave Lee and asked him to help figure out what was going on with the MacBook Pro. And a week later, Apple released a software patch that has seemingly fixed the issue. Dave Lee is some sort of Apple whisperer. I can't remember a time when the folks over in the Cupertino Space Donut ever responded to an issue like this in such a prompt manner. It took them 2 years to admit that the previous MacBook Pro 2017-2016, the keyboard was messed up. It took them 2 years, but now here they're calling this soft-spoken Canadian dude and asking them to help it fix their problem. And he does. And they do. I mean, within a week. Why does this matter? Because up until that point, Dave Lee was doing what most tech YouTubers do, going over specs, adding a little commentary, pointing out a few things he liked about the products here and there, as well as the ever-present 1 or 2 things he didn't like. And then somehow, everything changed. Dave flipped a switch and started pushing back, asking the questions I think every tech YouTuber should ask. And he used his platform to actually get things happening. I don't know if it was a conscious choice in his head to go in this direction, but in the past few weeks, Dave Lee has been doing exactly what I've wanted every tech YouTuber, especially the bigger channels, to do. He spoke truth to power and change happened. That's one of the reasons I started this series. I wanted to challenge the tech community to start using their influence for good. For good, and stop reviewing stuff on autopilot, playing it safe. And mild-mannered Dave Lee has done just that. So, can you trust Dave Lee? A few weeks ago, it wasn't even a question I would have asked. I mean, but now, given what he has actually achieved, how he's helped consumers all over the planet, I can only say yes. I hope he keeps it up. And I hope his success is a wake-up call to some other big tech YouTubers, or tech YouTubers big and small, to push back a little bit and stop playing it safe. Thanks so much for being here. I really do appreciate it. Again, my name is Jason, sometimes known as the JTL. This is Painfully Honest Tech. Tech so honest it hurts. If this was your first time here, then please consider coming back and doing the things that you would need to do in order to come back. And if you've been here before, I'm so glad to see you again. You know, I was just thinking about you today. Anyway, that's all I got for you today. Until the next time, I'm out.